Won't you please come join me for some midnight therapy?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Midnight Therapy. I am your host, the one and only Cat Matthews. I apologize for the delay. You know this. You've heard it a million times already, and I apologize. So busy. Life just gets busier and busier, but I am here, still showing up. Late is better than never, right? But here we are. And I'm going to fill you in on a little bit of what's going on with me. And then we're going to touch on the elephant in the room, the current events recap, the stuff that's going on. And we're going to keep it brief. I know I say that all the time too, but it has to be brief because it is about 10 o'clock on a Monday and I want to go to bed. I don't even go to bed anymore. I don't even feel like I've went to bed or got sleep. By the time my eyes shut, the alarm is going off, or the human alarm, which is the baby, is going off. And it's like time to repeat yesterday. So I'd like to get there and get a few hours in of sleep, but priorities are priorities, and this show is a priority. So here I am. I hope this makes you happy when this airs, probably Tuesday. Probably air Tuesday evening, hopefully. Who knows what'll change by then? At least you're getting something, right? So with me, I have been building this deck, the front porch. I was supposed to repair the boards on the front porch, the floorboards, the wood. It was all rotting. So we're like, well, we'll rip up the wood. We'll put some new wood on top. It'll be fine. We had somebody had used Trex decking that we got. We obtained the Trex decking used. And we were just bada bing, bada boom, going to put it on there. No, it turns out once I started ripping up the boards, the frame, the support, the foundation of the deck was comparable to like toothpicks and mulch. It was barely there. It was held up by hopes and dreams. So it turns out we had to rebuild the entire deck, which was an endeavor. Getting the wood to the house, we almost lost it. We bought the wrong wood, had to return it. I forgot my wallet, had to use Apple Pay. It was a shit show, but now we're almost done with that. But that took up a lot. Took up a lot of the last 2 weeks. That's why I haven't been podcasting, because of that. But thankfully that's almost over. On the positive side, you may notice I got this Aldi house. See this? It's like a little village home house for like under a train, maybe. I don't know. I was grocery shopping. I went by myself. Usually I go with the whole fam, me, Christy, and the baby. But this time I went by myself, and of course I came home with this. It's for Aldi's 50th. Yeah, Aldi's 50th anniversary. It was like $16, and I didn't even think about it. I was like, yeah, for sure. Coming home with me. It lights up. Great addition to the studio. Fell in love with it immediately. Still waiting on that sponsorship, Aldi. I don't know how many times I say the name of your business on this show, but it's a lot. It's innumerable. And to finish up with what's going on with me, it is almost the season of Ubaldo, the race of the saints, one of my favorite times of year. I do custom artwork for that, and I'm involved. I run for the team of Saint George. If you're a fan of the show, you know this. This year, I got to do window paintings of those three saints at a local doctor's office. Shout out to them for giving me that opportunity. But I think I'm the only person in the world. I don't know if this is true, but I think I'm the only person in the world that has drawn or painted the three saints associated with Saint Ubaldo, or the race of the saints, Saint Ubaldo, Saint George, Saint Anthony, on glass windows. The only other place it could have happened was Gubbio, Italy, or Jessup, Pennsylvania. But I think I have that locked in. So what an accomplishment. Let's add that to the list. The only person that painted three different saints on glass windows. Pretty cool. Another tremendous success to put on the resume. But no, they're very cool. If you're around Jessup, you'll see them if you're attending the race of the Saints this year. But that's it. That's my recap. So let's get into the current events recap of the world. Most importantly, America, and most importantly, the event that happened recently in Washington, D.C. Donald Trump, the third assassination attempt on him happened. Third major attempt at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. I'm sure you've all seen this. You know, I'm just recapping and giving you my take. This happened April 25th at a hotel in D.C., the Washington Hilton. If you know anything about this event, it's usually filled with jokes. It's a lighthearted event. A lot of people attend. A lot of important people in politics in D.C. attend, and the president and his administration, cabinet, VP, they usually attend. But it's a lot of important people in one room. So Trump attended this one. Usually doesn't attend. His first term, I don't think he attended because he was, not getting along with the media so much. A lot of media go to this event. But around 8:30, this gunman runs in, tries to get a couple shots off. He shoots a Secret Service in the vest. The guy lives, and then this suspect is arrested before he even got to the ballroom. The whole thing ended midway through. This correspondence dinner did not continue, of course. Security threats. And you gotta understand, the president, the vice president, and the entire cabinet pretty much was there, all in one place. And people have talked about the safety concerns with this event many times. Reagan was shot, or he got shot at this exact hotel, I believe. Look that up. In 1981. So it's risky. Everything's risky when you do events like that as the president, and especially when tensions are so high. But this happens, right? It's all over the news. Everyone's freaking out over it. And I start noticing these things, and that's why I have to come talk to you about this, of course. I'm going to keep it brief, but I'm noticing some things. So notice immediately, the week before, a couple days before, actually, Jimmy Kimmel is making fun of Trump, because that's literally all he does. That these late night comics, but especially Jimmy Kimmel, their entire livelihood and the meat and potatoes of their monologue, if you even call it that, is making fun of Trump. And we're going to get to why that is in a little bit, so put a pin in that. But he's mocking the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and he's doing like a mock one where he's pretending to host it, and always relentlessly hateful towards Trump with his rhetoric. And then he makes a joke about Melania Trump, and he says something along the lines of, she's glowing like an expected widow. Now, what a poorly timed, or let's say ironic thing to say, because a couple days later at the actual White House Correspondents' Dinner, there was an assassin there to try to assassinate the president. That doesn't look good. And then there's all these conversations about hateful rhetoric and what it could actually do and what it is doing to people. So now you have Melania Trump calling for, I think, ABC to cancel his show yet again. You got to remember, he got his show canceled momentarily after his comment about Charlie Kirk, Again, this is the constant debate of comedy and free speech and what you can say and what's hateful and what's fueling the fire of political violence or what isn't. You even got Obama making a statement about this, saying that there's no, he's calling out political violence, no room for that in this country. And that's telling that Barack Obama's even doing that. Maybe he understands the gravity of this situation and what's going to happen, most likely, one day, if you keep stoking those flames. Erica Kirk, everyone's jumping down her throat again. She was like crying, saying, I just want to go home. Now, again, I got my problems with Erica Kirk. Something's fishy there. We said this many times, okay? Not everything adds up. Not everything is how I would react. I wouldn't grieve probably the same way as her. But this woman's crying after gunshots ring out at an event she's at, considering the fact that her husband was killed in the way he was. Her saying, I just want to go home and being worked up seems like a normal human response, right? But no, everybody's like, what an actress. She's so fake. This girl always wants to be in the spotlight. You know why? Because we're completely insane. We're completely insane as a people. And I'm going to get to that in a little bit. But all the comments were hateful. Like, I didn't see one really empathetic or compassionate comment about this woman being worked up over another assassination attempt at an event she was tied to. Whatever, maybe I'm wrong, but it just seems like we're heading down this dark road. Everything feels very dark, feels very gloomy, gloom and doom. Talk about this all the time. The doomers, right? Now there's a cause and effect to that. We're about to see what that constant, let's say, dooming, the doom scrolling, the negativity, the pessimism is going to do. The nihilism. So like you got these, all these people I talk about all the time, like the Candace Owens and the Alex Jones and all them. They're not helping anything, right? They're not making anything better because they're just calling out problems and telling you inconsistencies, but providing no solution, right? So then certain people like this young guy, who we're going to talk about, is like, I have to take this into my own hands. Like when you make Luigi Mangione a hero for killing a healthcare CEO, that you see what happens eventually. Calling Trump Hitler every day, see what happens eventually. But that's a whole nother can of worms. Let's get into this. The gunman, Cole Allen, his name is actually Cole Thomas Allen. I was worried for a minute because all these assassins always have three names, like the John Wilkes Booth, the Lee Harvey Oswald, the Thomas Matthew Crooks. If that's right, I don't even know. That's the Butler guy. But they always have three names. So it's like, oh, there it is. He had that Thomas in there. So Cole Thomas Allen, of course, politically motivated, wrote a manifesto. He said the words pedophile, rapist, traitor. How interesting. Where did you hear those words before? Probably heard it a couple, 2-3 times watching the media or the, let's say, independent journalists. Probably heard those terms before. Remember, most people just regurgitate things they hear from people they think are on their side. This guy was 31 years old. Little unfortunate, of course, right, to throw your life away at 31 years old for something that really has nothing to do with you. But we'll get into that, of course. Trump goes on 60 Minutes the next day. Now, this is one of the most interesting things I've seen because it was kind of cordial at first. Now, I got to remember, this guy is the president of the United States, which you would think comes with some sort of respect. And then also this guy was almost killed 2 times in a legitimate sort of way. One being an extremely close call with a bullet going through his ear. But anyways, the interviewer on 60 Minutes quotes the manifesto to Trump, like not even a day after this happened. And Trump loses it, of course. She brings up the pedophile, rapist, traitor comments. Trump loses it a little. Not as bad as he could have done it. I've seen him worse, but calls her horrible. He goes, I'm not a rapist. I'm not a pedophile. He goes, you read that crap from a sick person. They associated me wrongly with Epstein. You're a disgrace. You've seen the clip. If not, look it up. I'm going to be honest. I think Trump handled that well. And I respected that. I respected the way how he handled that situation because I can't imagine anyone else on the planet. Imagine if it were like Obama. Imagine if it were Obama. And the day after he was almost assassinated at a dinner, they're like quoting the manifesto of the nut job that tried to kill him in the interview on 60 Minutes, making that like the focus. And then there's always problems with glorifying these school shooters and these mass shooters and these nut jobs, like because you make other people look up to them. You make the other nut jobs go wow, look how they did it. And people look up to them. You got people that look up to like Michael Myers. They get tattoos of Michael Myers on them. They think it's cool to worship like a serial killer. We have sick people out there. So the more you like make somebody cool, because they're trying to make them cool. They're like, well, this guy was doing the right thing, just like Luigi Mangione, who was standing up to healthcare. Yeah, and you're also encouraging vigilante justice, and encouraging all these other lost and misguided freaks to possibly do the same. And that's what Jimmy Kimmel is doing. That's what, well, again, Jimmy Kimmel didn't know this was going to happen, let's say. So I know it seems specifically tied, but in a way, this is what's going on. You know, the constant rhetoric of the echo chamber is making the radicals feel emboldened to take action, right? Is that fair to say? But the 60 Minutes woman, she's not like, oh, it's so unfortunate that political violence is so apparent nowadays. Instead, she's like, well, here's what the crazy guy wrote in his manifesto about you. And then pretend to be stupid and say, oh, well, was it about you? I don't know if it was about you. It's just a correspondence dinner that you were at, focused at the administration that you're in charge of. So, I mean, I guess it's up to speculation if it was about him or not. I would say probably, yeah. No, this guy wrote a manifesto. Obviously, he had some problems with the Trump administration. More of it's going to come out. This guy's still alive. He's not dead. They took him in alive. Maybe we'll hear something about it. Maybe we won't. We haven't heard much about the Charlie Kirk assassination attempt, right? We haven't heard much about that. We heard that the bullet was different. That was it. That's really all we heard. Got to admit one thing. Trump's pretty resilient. Wasn't really phased again, you know? With the Butler thing, he wasn't really phased. He got up and fist pumped the air. Now, what does this all mean? To summarize, the president was almost assassinated for the third time. Here's my take. We have become so desensitized as a people. I'm saying the American people. We're almost like sociopaths or psychopaths at this point, because this is all normal to us now. It's exciting that it's old news. Like people, that you're expected to move on almost instantly. It's like, sit down for the 60 Minutes interview. So you were just almost killed. What do you think about the guy's manifesto? It's just the TikTok mindset. You see Charlie Kirk get shot in the neck. The next video is like a dog playing with a frisbee, and you're just desensitized to these horrid things. And then on top of that, you can't even tell what's real or fake anymore. You don't even know what to believe anymore. So nihilism is rampant. People are like, well, who cares anyways? AI is making things worse because it's muddying the waters. It's blurring the lines. You don't even know what's real anymore. And that's only going to get crazier at a faster rate too. People trust nothing anymore. That's the most irritating thing that I've witnessed in my short life on this earth, is people trusting nothing. People are just aligning with the radicals. They don't like think critically anymore. So like now, if you could explain something simply, like, well, the reason for everyone's problems is this, they will jump on that, and it helps their worldview. But they don't believe anything else but that one thing they believe, which is so annoying anymore. That's why the Tuckers, the Alex Jones, all those people are now, the Candace Owens, they're now popular because people are like, I don't trust the news. I trust these people. These people would never lie to me. These people are outsiders. They're anti-establishment. They're just like me. Not even close to true. They're just selling radicalism as anti-establishment. And it's this insatiable hunger for more and more shocking things that's going to be the downfall of all of us. That's the algorithm. We want things quicker, better, faster. Like we want DoorDash to deliver the food immediately. We want a new juicy news story every 4 seconds. Like, oh, that's boring. Like, that's going to be the end of us. And I'm going to be honest, this Trump era, let's say since Trump came down the escalator, I don't know, what was that, 2015 to now. So we're like over 10, 11 years. That has fried a lot of people's brains permanently. Like Donald Trump has ruined a lot of people. And someone needs to talk about this. I'm going to be the one to talk about it. No one else wants to talk about it, but I will. Because I feel like it's so contemporary and currently still going on that people don't know how to decompartmentalize it a little. But I'm going to try. I'm just a cowboy in the basement here, but I'm going to try to do it here. Trump's name in and of itself invokes this visceral knee-jerk reaction in people that it makes some people like actually panicked or visually angry, like instantly filled with rage when you bring his name up. Other people worship him like a god too. So it's like a big spectrum, two ends. And it is odd. It is very odd. And it's really never happened in my life before. There's never been a figure like this that was so polarizing. Like people really love him and also really hate him. And there's really nothing in between anymore. But regardless, this man, Donald Trump, occupies the minds of millions of people 24/7. And it's a crazy phenomenon. No one wants to talk about this, but there are people that are obsessed with hating this man so much and also obsessed with loving him so much. They make it their whole personality. Like, well, I know you love Trump. Like, I could tell we were friends. We'll be friends. And there's other people that despise the man so much. They'll write paragraphs about him every day online. They join clubs of people that hate him. It's crazy what's going on, and I've never seen this before. I see people defending Iran because they hate Trump so much. Defending Iran, without even getting into that. Like, I see them doing it. Like calling Iran the superior country of morals and ethics, and they owned Trump with those AI guys, the Lego AI guys that really owned Trump. They got him good, as if these people would last a day in Iran, and as if Iran would be more suitable to them with leadership, in regards of leadership. And these people, like I said, I know people that have boiled everything down. This is pretty much the Tucker and the Candace and the Alex Jones. They've boiled everything down to saying every problem on earth is because of Jeffrey Epstein and a satanic pedophile ring that runs the world, and Jewish people. And I know people that actually believe that. And they're like, yeah, my problems right here at home is because of Epstein and Jews. Now, every conspiracy theory and radical view comes with some truth. Was Jeffrey Epstein a good person? No. He's probably one of the most evil people around. And are certain elites at the top in these big companies like BlackRock and Vanguard, State Street, all that, these, are some of them Jewish? Sure. But to believe that that's the problem that's the reason for all your problems, and that Trump is bought and sold by Israel and Israel runs the world, like, it is getting a bit much. And you're talking to someone who has a very open mind and looks at all the facts. I see it with my own eyes. I see people going insane. I see a lot of people that like Trump saying, I hate Trump now because he's a puppet of Israel, and they're running everything over in Israel and they control Trump. I'm like, okay, I'm the first one to call out that Trump took a ton of AIPAC donations. I know this. We all know this. Every politician takes AIPAC donations. But it's getting a bit much now. And if you said that, like if a higher up person that had a bigger fan base than me said that, they would say, oh, well, you are bought by Israel too. Like someone might even insinuate that this show, The Cowboy in the Basement with 124 subscribers, was somehow bought by Israel for me saying this. And that's how you know there's a problem. That's how you know there's like a little bit of a mind virus going on all sides. But you got to understand there's not even sides. This is just affecting everyone now. But the desensitization of all of us is something that we need to be aware of, and how it's so easy for us to still fall into these radical belief systems of the other. Creating the other is so easy. That's never not been easy. That's the tale as old as time. And I'm watching it happen still. And I don't like it. It's actually quite odd. But this Trump era, I do believe, fried a lot of people's brains, where everybody thinks every single thing is fake. And I honestly, how are we can't, who am I to blame them for that? I get why people think everything is fake because everything kind of is. But if most of the population doesn't believe anything, then there's going to be a lot of, stand for something or fall for anything, and there's a lot of people that are going to be welcoming these people that have abandoned their trust in let's say the old guard. They're going to go over to the new guard, whatever that may be. And I don't have a lot of hope um, of where people put their trust moving forward. Let's just say that. So again, everything is fake, right? If that's your mindset, I get why you believe that, especially now with this Southern Poverty Law Center thing. I'm going to get into this just a little. I'm sure you've seen this. This is a group, nonprofit that's intended, to go after these hate groups, the KKK, the Nazis, blah, blah, blah. Well, the DOJ just charged them for funding those groups. It came out that they're actually they paid informants in the KKK and certain neo-Nazi groups. They paid over $3 million to them. And the people that funded this nonprofit had no idea their funds were going to the groups that they were supposed to be stopping, right? And this is involved with many incidents. We remember like Charlottesville. I'm sure you remember that one. That's what Trump's famous quote, "Good people on both sides," that was taken completely out of context, and they ran with that all the way up into this past election when Kamala Harris quoted that. And the whole time, this was all fake. It was all fake psyop with the agent provocateurs and leftist organizations funding these hate groups, creating more hate so that they could show you how hateful the country is to sway votes. That should blow most people's minds. But again, that's already an old story. People already forgot about that. People don't even care. And if that was fake, what else was fake? What protests were fake? What incidents were ramped up? Well, what incidents were fueled? You know what I'm saying? You be the judge of that. Every major riot in this country in the past, let's say, just 10 years, how many of them were truly organic? Makes you wonder. So I get why people think everything is fake. I think you're right to be skeptical. I really do. It's just you can't think every single thing is fake. You eventually have to believe something. You know what I'm saying? And I think now people are so, I don't know. I don't even know what's going on with people. I think they're just so desensitized that they don't really trust anything. And I think that's going to lead to a problem, a big one. We know that the world is a stage. We know that everything's kind of a lie. It's just, where does this go? And I'm going to tell you what my prediction is. I really think that somebody wants Trump out, and they're thinking about how he leaves the zeitgeist, how he leaves this era. And I don't think it's going to be the Democrats winning midterms and impeaching him. I don't think he's going to retire and go sit on the beach and golf. I really don't. Is there a possibility he stays longer and doesn't give up, the presidency? Sure. Yeah. But do I think that's going to happen? No. I think he wants that to happen, perhaps. Some people want that to happen. But again, even if it did, the guy is 80 years old. We know there's evidence of them trying to take him out. And it's not like someone taking him out, but it's more like these members of the intelligence agencies talking to these incels online, fueling them up, pretending to be friends of them, and kind of shepherds leading the sheep to where they want to go, and then allowing someone else to carry out this event. That's probably what happened in Butler, as you know. Hundreds of people were saying, "Hey, there's a guy on the roof," and everyone just pretended they didn't see it, and they let 8 shots ring out until they took that guy out. Is it unfair to say that it's feasible that someone knew that guy was going to do that day? I don't think so. Do I think that was fake in any way? No, it was 100% real. It's just someone in the intelligence community probably let that happen. And they're like, well, maybe the kid will pull it off. I feel like that's probably what's going on. And it didn't happen. So then there was a lot of explaining to do. It's like, why was the security so shitty? Why was the Secret Service so horrible at their job? But then again, people forget, it's a fast paced news cycle. People forget this one. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe they wanted the guy to get in there and take a couple shots off. It was weird because they rushed JD out before Trump. I don't know if anyone saw that. But I'm telling you, what's going to happen if that does happen, and I don't want that to happen. Of course, this is just a speculative opinion from a Cowboy in the Basement comedy podcast here. But remember Star Wars when Obi-Wan Kenobi was like, if you strike me down now, I'll become more powerful than you could ever imagine. And also the Jesus story where it's like, Jesus had to die for him to be known by everyone in some weird way, right? Not to mention Trump is posting all these Jesus memes lately. Pretty weird. But it's like if that were to happen to Trump, I bet you it would make the movement even more powerful. If he wasn't able to finish his term. And why that is because remember when Trump was running in 2024, a lot of people let something get the best of them. And it's a very simple formula. It's called curiosity. What would he have done? What could he have done if not for COVID? Like maybe things were going well. Remember that? Everybody had that thought like, wow, maybe this guy really was going to make America great again. Maybe we should have gave him another chance. And that curiosity is what got people to vote for him because of the unfinished business that might have benefited the country. And the guy had charisma, It's like a relationship where you talk to someone, but you never really get together and you always wonder about that one person. If you date somebody and it sucks, you stop thinking about them. But the one person you never really dated, but always thought about, and you both kind of liked each other, you always think about that person. That's kind of what Trump was in 2024. And if Trump were to, unfortunately, God forbid, get assassinated for real, you would have that same curiosity. Like maybe he was playing 4D chess. Maybe he would have fixed the country and they took that from us, right? That's what would happen. And it would strengthen the base and allow a new, younger person to step in those shoes. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm just saying expect the unexpected. This could very well happen. Remember, you either die a hero or you live long enough to become a villain, as they say. Either way, when Trump leaves, whether he leaves office or he dies of old age or dies of, natural causes, it will be a Wile E. Coyote catching the Roadrunner moment for most of the country. In some weird, sick way, Trump is the only constant in people's lives. Family comes and goes, friends come and go, the job sucks, you got to mow the lawn, but Trump's always there, either making you happy or making you angry. And there's that weird Charles Manson quote. I don't know if you ever saw it. He talked about his cellmate in prison that had a picture of Hitler on his wall, but he hated Hitler, like this guy was Jewish. And Manson was like, no, you love Hitler because he's the only thing that keeps you alive. Your hate for him is the only thing that keeps you alive. He's like your dad. I don't know if you ever saw that quote. And I'm not telling you to look up Charles Manson as some good person. I'm saying he had one little profound moment there in that clip. But it's kind of true. Trump is a lot of these people. It's like a father figure to a lot of people, even though they hate him. He's like the only thing they see every day and think about and put energy into every day. It's the only thing that makes them feel kind of alive. And that's sick, but it is true. So when he does leave the zeitgeist of American politics, it is going to be a big adjustment for people. I don't know where we go from here. It's literally like the Wile E. Coyote catching the Roadrunner. It's like, I never thought I'd get here. What do I do? What am I going to do every day now? It's like chasing a girl your whole life, getting married, and then being bored. You're like, I kind of only like the chase. Like, I kind of only like the show. And now when the show's over, this sucks. But I think that is the problem. It's the never-ending hunger for more and more crazy things. That algorithm, that is the problem. And Trump is a crazy lead character in this show, and his ending is not gonna be boring. I'm just telling you that. It's just either something terrible is gonna happen, God forbid, or he's gonna stay in power and be a dictator. I don't know. But it's not gonna be he just leaves and says good luck to the next guy and then plays golf for the rest of his days. That's probably not gonna happen. And the reason people are fueling this political rhetoric, I think, is an ends to a means, to get more of these incel brainwashed people to carry out their bidding for them. And AI is only going to make that worse. Now, my advice to end on a light note is to let this brainwashing go and let's be a little nicer to people. I know it sounds so simple. I sound like I'm talking to children. But this country is the best it's going to get as far as the world goes. America's the greatest experiment there's ever been. Don't forget that. Everybody shits on this country all the time. And of course, it's got its problems. It does. But compared to the rest of the world, name me a better country, please, right now. Name me a place you'd rather be, a better government, a country that has a better past. Please. Please, right now. I'm just so sick of you're so sick of this, but this is the best it's going to get. This is the safest place you're ever going to be. It's the safest place you're ever going to be for the most part. Of course, there's some little probably nooks and crannies out there that's a little safer, but overall, it's a big country, pretty safe country, pretty great country. Everything in abundance you could ever want. The poorest people here are fat and they own 5 cars. The poorest. And nobody understands that. And as far as this president goes, do you think the next president's going to be any better? The presidents are only going to get worse. The presidents are only going to get worse because corruption and technology is getting better. There's more corruption and better technology. So with that becomes worse leaders and worse people that want to be leaders. So Trump's bad to some of you, sure, but the next guy or girl is going to be even worse. So enjoy your time now and maybe stop worrying about all the nonsense, as I keep saying. Political violence, go read your history. World War I, Archduke Ferdinand getting killed started World War I and World War II. It led right to World War II. And that was one guy getting shot. So all these people that think it's a good idea to encourage people that, it would be a good thing if we took out our political opponents in a physical way and did vigilantism. Good luck with that. You think that's going to be, you think times are tough now? If that scenario that I painted, that hypothetical, if that happens and Trump's base gets stronger, you think they're ever going to get violent? They might. And would that make things better? No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't. I never once heard somebody that liked Trump call for violence against Biden, though, when they were running. Did you notice that? It's an interesting thing. But I'm telling you, let this shit go. There's so much more for you to live for than this nonsense. I think the algorithm has such a grip on us now that we need to break it now or we'll never break it. A lot of people that have nothing to live for getting targeted by radicals, and that's not good. You become what you consume. You are what you eat. You become what you consume. If you take in doom and gloom all day, you become doom and gloom. If you take in positivity, you become positive over time. Go out, touch grass. I don't know. Go have a bush light. I don't know. Enjoy your life. Go see a concert. Go watch a show and not look at your phone. Just trust me on this, that there is so much more to life. Get a beehive. Get a beehive and watch the bees make honey and eat the honey. Get stung by a bee. Go to the hospital. Talk to a nurse. Get the nurse's Snapchat. Go on a date. Eat a pizza. But I don't know why it always has to point out to, well, what do you think of Donald Trump? Like, who cares? You got people like, well, what's going on in the Strait of Hormuz is crazy. Well, why do you care? Why do you care? Are you running for office? Do you even know anything? Can you find Iran on a map? They're programming us. I'm telling you, they're programming us. And we're all desensitized. We're like, whatever. Assassination attempt. Boring. What's next? Like, that's where we're at as a country. What you need to do is you need to be more like me, and you need to get excited over a fake Aldi building and buy it and look at it and talk about it on your podcast. Telling you, we're going down a dark road here. This is a quick episode. I'm wrapping it up here, but going down a dark road. And I want us to be positive. I want us to be positive. And I want you to break the chains of that algorithm. And I want you to realize that what's going on is odd. And everything might be fake, but everything can't be fake. Something has to be real, right? So I'm on your side. Question everything, but you can't not believe a single thing. Okay? Some things are real. Like, some things are real. Things happen. And sometimes things just happen because people are nuts. People are like looking up stuff like, oh, well, this guy's connected to this and his name was written on this account. What are we going to do here? Are we going to find obscure connections with every single thing and not believe a single thing? You could not believe a single thing. That's fine. You know when I'll believe you when you don't believe it? When you stop paying your taxes. When you stop paying your taxes and you stop doing things and you don't pay your bills and go, oh, it's all fake anyways, then I'll believe you. But the minute you're like, everything's fake, but you still get up and go to work every day, poser. Trust me, I want to be on your team too. I want to say, this is all fake. We're just animals walking around with clothing on. And we wear this shirt for no reason. I want to do that too, but no one's going to do it. So work comes early tomorrow. You better watch this and go to bed. Anyways, this show is brought to you in part by Jack's Pub and Eatery and Three Saints Barbershop, located in the heart of historic downtown Jessup, Pennsylvania, and of course, Picardo Jewelers. I'll be back. Don't know when. Hopefully soon. Hopefully we get back on that weekly schedule. I'm Cat Matthews. Again, this is a comedy podcast. Aldi, if you want to sponsor me, let me know. Stay curious, my friends. Good night.